Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am That Spiritual Mama, and it is my 9-week update. The baby is approximately the size of a strawberry, or no, raspberry this week, I think. Yeah, I think that's, no, it's a cherry this week. And morning sickness is still a thing. As of this very day, it's not as bad as it could be. I'm experiencing a lot of round ligament pain as of like early this morning, like around 1, and also upon getting up and getting my kids ready. So it's a little scary. I was supposed to go to my ultrasound today, but we weren't going to be able to do that, so I had to get it rescheduled. So I have that 2 days from now, and that will be our first ultrasound. I still have to go get some blood work done this week before that appointment, and I did have like my initial appointment regarding like the pregnancy and everything last week. It was like an over the phone appointment, and they're just like asking me like how I'm feeling and preparing me for like the way that things go. And I'm interested in a water birth this time around. So I asked them like if that was available, and they said that they do have like, I think they said like 4 rooms that have a bath in there. So it is very possible for that to happen. As of right now, I am going through an OB. She's new because we just moved to a different location, so I haven't met her yet. But I'm not exactly sure, which I'm really thinking that like I'm not going to stay with an OB the whole time, although I mean things can change, but I was feeling like I should move more towards a midwife, because it's more supportive than like the way that I had my last 2 births at the hospital, and both of those were kind of traumatizing, and I felt really bad about like how all that stuff went down. So I really want to have a better experience, and I feel like it helps a lot with bonding with your baby. Like me and my 2 children that I have now, they're older now. My son is gonna be 10 and my daughter is 8. They're 16 months apart, but both of those experiences were really hard, and they felt really forced, and there was no real support by like the staff at the hospital, and it was more so like trying to get everybody in and out as fast as possible. Like, oh, you're not progressing as you should, here's some Pitocin. Oh, you need this, or to get an epidural because your contractions are now out of control. And I'm throwing up the whole time because like I'm sick off of this medication because I didn't want to do an epidural first with my son, and then with my daughter, I labored all weekend, and the same doctor was on call that delivered my son, and he asked, or he wanted to use a vacuum after I pushed for 2 minutes, or not even 2 minutes, and I felt the resistance, and I was really scared. So I pushed as hard as I could to get my son out, and I birthed him in 6 minutes, and that was so fucking traumatizing to my body, to the point where all he had to do is like tap on my stomach, and my uterus, or not my uterus, my placenta popped right out and landed on the floor. Like, just like, okay, you want to hurry up. My body was like, fuck that. Like, it was really gross because the kid's dad said that amniotic amniotic fluid splashed on his ankles, and it was really gross. And I can imagine that being really gross, but golly, I literally, like, 6 minutes and that 8-pound child was out of my body. And that was awful. Like, and I felt so bad. My son had, like a scab. He had a scab that came in on his head because the doctor was pulling so hard. And I felt like a failure because I can only imagine, like, that's how he was introduced to the world. And it hurt me more than anything because I felt like I could have did better, but a lot of the things that were out of my control were, I was a first-time mom at the time, and when the doctors are in this position to be able to tell you, like, oh, this is what you need, it's not necessarily what you need. It's, you're not moving fast enough for me, and this and that. And I was dilated to a 10 with my son at the same time that there was another woman who was also giving birth. So, and there was only one doctor on call. So by the time he got to me, he was trying to hurry up and get me done and over with. And I'm like, that's so impersonal, and it really took away from my first experience of birth. So I told my significant other that this time around I wanted it to be more meaningful, or I wanted it to mean more or feel, I don't know, better. I wanted to be comfortable. I wanted to be able to go at my own pace. I wanted to be able to do it on my own. And originally I talked about doing like a home birth, but my boyfriend is a first time dad, so he's got all these worries, and there's no really telling him that, oh, you don't have anything to worry about. So we're trying to find like a middle ground where we can both get what we're looking for, and find that medium. We're trying to compromise. So we're thinking, well, because I told him, I was like, I would go to like an OB for like my prenatal care to make sure that everything is like good and safe and everything, and no complications would arise, and then my body can naturally take care of what my body was meant to do. But he's just overly worried about like, what if something happens. So I think that towards the end of my pregnancy, I'll like call around about a midwife, if not looking into it, in the meantime, because I feel like I would much rather have that support and be able to make my own decisions, opposed to the hospital opting for racking up my bill with medication that I don't need, and whatnot. So we're just thinking about big stuff. Not that there's any rush for that. So yeah, still a lot of fatigue, really tired. I have barely cleaned the house. I feel really bad about that. There's a lot of waves of emotion where I'm really worried about this for no reason, and I had a couple mood swings where I was like a complete bitch, and I felt really bad for my boyfriend, and then I was like crying, and I was like scared, and it was awful. And I really gotta take into consideration like my partner's feelings, because I hate, and I'm not allowed to hate, I try not to hate, but I really dislike who I am when I'm not considerate of his feelings, and I do not like throwing a tantrum like a freaking toddler and having things my way. It does not feel good to me. So I am working on just sitting with myself in these hard times and these difficult emotions, and just trying to ask myself, like, where is this coming from and what influences this feeling, to try to make sense of my reality better, which is not always easy. It's really not. It's so uncomfortable to sit with yourself when you're having a big emotion. So if you are going through something similar like this, drop me a comment in the comment section below. Let's have a conversation, because I think that, right now I'm the only one that's pregnant in my house, and we're not talking about it to people because it's still really early, and and I wouldn't mind being able to talk to people who are probably going through similar experiences, so that we can, best support each other, because we physically know what it's like to be going through all of this. And I would love to know and feel that what I'm going through is able to help somebody else, if that is a thing. And everything is hard, especially when you're nauseous constantly, no matter what. So still trying to push through it and trying to celebrate those little wins, where I did a little bit more than I did yesterday, or I am doing my best right now, and that looks different every day. Trying to have some type of positive reinforcement when it comes to the way that we're looking at things. Like, it can help a little bit, and sometimes that's all that we can do, and that's enough if we let it be. So try to remember to appreciate yourself today. I will also try to remember to appreciate myself today, and don't let the negative thoughts keep you down. Like, if you are pregnant and you're going through this with me, you are bringing a beautiful soul into this world, and that is beyond wonderful. So have a good day, and I'll see you in the 10 weeks.